Rules enable freedom. Rules enable freedom because what rules do is they make sure, you can see that rules are there to see what you cannot do. But you can also see rules enable freedom because rules are here to guarantee what you can do. This is what I love so much. This is one of the things, like, people think that in order to have freedom, you need to abolish rules. Why? Rules are actually something that guarantees that you can do those things. And then you have police, who are people who ensure that that is protected. Rules like you can say whatever you want in public. Rules like you can have a massive amount of freedom in your own home, of what you can do, of how you can paint it, all the artsy things, all of the amazing things you can do. Those things are guaranteed to us by rules. And even if there's some crazy person who we offend by it, who's trying to stop us from doing it, actually, it could even be 100 crazy people, right, who are trying to stop us from doing something that the rules say we're allowed to do. Then there's the government who will step in to protect our right to do whatever it is that we want to do. Which is fucking awesome. So rules are not something to be abolished. Rules are something to be enjoyed as a sense of freedom. Because there are rules, I know that I can fucking do this. And I know that if there's people who will try to stop me from doing it, there will be way more people who will protect me and make sure that I'm enabled to continue doing whatever it is that I'm doing. And that goes for all of the little rules, but we think, okay, well, on a grand scale, that might make sense. But what about parking tickets and stuff like that? What about that? Well, the thing is, the little rules are necessary to enable the big freedoms. Things like preventing people from parking on cycling lanes is what enables cyclists to go on this lane without having to pay any attention to what the cars are doing. Because it's their right, and if a big car or even a big lorry or a big massive group, like an entourage of trucks, tries to block one cyclist, there will be a fucking entourage of police coming over to take them all away. To protect the rule, to protect your right of doing what you want to do, of cycling on a cycling lane. And just in general, like rules, like, yes, like doing what you want to do in your own flat, like being protected in your own flat. That if somebody comes in there and tries to stop you from doing something, if someone comes in there and tries to say what you should or shouldn't do, just call up the police and they'll come over and they'll tell them exactly what's right and what's wrong. And that's nice. And actually, let's end on this subject as well. Rules are something that you choose because you choose what community you live in. You choose the town you live in. You choose the country you live in. You choose the kind of rules you want to be subject to and the kind of people who you want to live with. And then you follow those rules. And I'm a big, big fan of different countries having different rules, different areas having different rules. And then the people who want to experience what it's like living under those rules can. And if you want to be in a country where it's a rule that everybody's allowed to have a firearm, for example, then you can do so. But if you want to be in a country where it's a rule that you can be fucking safe from being killed from people all the time, then you can live in that country as well. That exists as well. And for example, in the country where there are rules to make sure that firearms are not allowed, for example, things like talking to police officers becomes much more relaxed. And so you can feel much more free when you're talking to a police officer, knowing that a police officer is not going to immediately assume that you have a weapon on you. Which is kind of a nice freedom as well. I want to really emphasize this point, like rules are something to be loved. Because rules are what gives us the foundational block of freedom. And I actually want to end with this on the police as well. Like, the police are great because they protect our rules, right? But also, it's great that we can tell the police whatever the fuck we want. It's great that police will definitely not lock us up for just saying words, because we're allowed to say words. Or the fact that you can argue with police, and that's absolutely fine. It's actually awesome. It's actually awesome. And the fact that police people who have completely different opinions to you will come and protect you and protect your rules and your rights. That's fucking awesome. And this is actually one of the biggest things. And the most awesome thing about this whole police thing is that when you're facing a police officer, you know the rules, so you can feel completely free and relaxed, because they're only here to enforce the rules. And so you're completely free to act within the rules when you're around a police officer. You can walk on the pavement, you can cycle, you can go when it's green, you can go when it's red. You can't go when it's red, whatever. But there's so many things that you can feel perfectly comfortable doing around a police officer, knowing that they cannot stop you because it's against the rules. Knowing that they cannot stop you from saying opinions like, I don't know, all medicine is shit, or I hate Germany, for example. I live in Germany, I can say I hate Germany to a police officer, and they'll just be like, well, I don't give a shit, because it's perfectly within your right to do that. And you're not breaking any rules, so it's absolutely fine. I love the clarity in that. The police are not here to hate on random people. The police are just here to protect your freedoms, to ensure that your rules are protected. And so as long as you follow the rules, the police officers have no power over you whatsoever. Because we think the police are so powerful, but they're actually not at all. The police's only power is to enforce the rules. And if everybody followed the rules in a certain way, then the police would be publicly powerless, because they would have no way to execute their power, to show that they have any power at all. Yeah. You might say, well, sometimes it's necessary to break the rules. Absolutely. Sometimes it's necessary to break the rules, but the consequences will be the police will be showing up. It's just a thing, yeah. But generally speaking, I love rules because they will protect my freedoms here in Germany, here in Europe. It's awesome to have them. Makes me feel like, I'm not a particularly strong person, I'm not a particularly fighting person, but I can just like walk up and down like I own the place, walk down the street like I own the place. And if some person with much bigger muscles than me like comes up to me and says, stop walking like you own the place, I can just tell them to fuck off. And if they don't, I just call the police. It's kind of awesome. Like, actually, it could be a really small person, and I could look like have a hilarious, like, face paintings on and all this stuff. And I could just walk down the street with confidence, knowing that there are rules to protect my freedom. So here's to rules, here's to freedom. I'm Daniel Lee. See you in my next video.